Yo, what's good? It's D Scaladallo, and I'm here with this UFC Fight Night St. Louis analysis and predictions. First fight of the new year. It's a really interesting card, really good matchups on this card. I'm gonna do 5 matchups. The first one we have is Darren Elkins versus Michael Johnson. Now you have Darren Elkins. He's been on a really nice winning streak this year. Had that crazy comeback against Mirsad Bektic. And then he beat Dennis Bermudez. So he'll be looking to make this 5 in a row at featherweight. And you have Michael Johnson, who's coming off that Fight of the Year candidate against Justin Gaethje. He's looking to have a resurgence at 145, make a run there. So this is a really interesting matchup because both these fighters, they have strengths and they have weaknesses that the other fighter can exploit in this fight. Darren Elkins, his striking is not his strong suit, but he's incredibly tough, a really good, really strong wrestler, and has a great gas tank as well. You have Michael Johnson, who is very fast, probably some of the fastest hands in the UFC, very fast, very powerful, and he'll definitely be looking for that knockout in this fight. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting because this is going to come down to, I think, if Michael Johnson if he can avoid the wrestling and if he can get his striking off and get Darren Elkins out of there early. I think Michael Johnson, his best chance to win this fight is to get the knockout early. I think it's a distinct striking discrepancy, but Michael Johnson, he also tends to gas in his fights. He slows down as the rounds go on, so I think he wants to get it done early, because Darren Elkins, he gets stronger as the fight progresses. And then if this fight goes into the second and third round, I see Darren Elkins taking control of this fight with his pressure and his relentless wrestling. Yeah, this is a really good matchup. Pretty much striker versus grappler. Michael Johnson, he's going to want to keep it out on the feet. And if he doesn't plan on getting a knockout, he needs to really pace himself in this fight. He tends to throw everything in his punches, which leads to him gassing out in his fight. So if he does that, it's going to be a risk, because if he doesn't get Darren Elkins out of there, he's going to pay for it, in the second and third rounds. For my prediction, I think I'm going to go with Darren Elkins in this fight. I think trajectory rise, he's on his way up. He moved to alpha male, and ever since then, he's been on a good winning streak. I think he'll be able to withstand the initial storm from Michael Johnson, and I think he'll control the fights in the second and third round with his wrestling. The next fight we have, a fight I'm really excited for. Probably my favorite prospect at welterweight, my fellow Nigerian, Kamaru Usman. He's facing Emil Meek. And the fight, I really don't like. I don't think Emil Meek really deserves this fight. I think this is a huge risk and no reward for Kamaru. He really should be fighting another top 10 or top 5 fighter at this point. So this is a dangerous fight as far as what he has to lose in this fight. Stylistically, Emil Meek, he's primarily a striker. He's powerful, he's aggressive. This is only his second fight. His first fight, he beat Jordan Meehan by decision. So this is a huge opportunity for Emil Meek. This will be a very big win for him if he can get this done. Kamaru Usman, he's a really well-rounded fighter at this point. High pressure fighter, powerful striking, great wrestling, great cardio, and a great tenacity. So he's definitely a prospect I see getting deep in that welterweight division this year. I think this is Kamaru's fight to lose. I think he should easily control the grappling exchanges. I don't think he needs to give Emil Meek any chances on his feet. I think he can definitely look to take this fight down early, and then throughout the rest of the fight, he can use that threat of the takedown to get his striking off. But I think he shouldn't give Emil Meek any chance in this fight, because Emil Meek, I think his best chance to win is to get the knockout on the feet. If he doesn't get the knockout on the feet, I can't see him winning this fight. Because I think Kamaru, his pressure, his wrestling is going to just wear him down over the course of this fight. So I'm gonna go with Kamaru Usman by this. I'm gonna say third round submission or TKO. He'll pretty much dominate and mill meat with his wrestling, and by the third round, he'll probably get the submission, maybe like a arm triangle. The next fight we have Paige VanZant make her flyweight debut against Jessica Rose Clark, who recently came off her debut win over Beck Rollins. I'm not sure how this one is gonna go. Paige, she's an athletic fighter. I think the move up to 125 will probably help her. She was supposedly cutting a lot of weight to make 115. She's athletic. She's tough. Skill-wise, I think Jessica Rose Clark is more skilled, but you can't count out Paige in this fight, because she has a toughness and a tenacity that really helps her get wins. Jessica Rose Clark, she was pretty impressive against Beck Rollins. And again, I don't know how this fight is gonna go. I can see this fight going either way, but I'm gonna go with Jessica Rose Clark. She's the regular 125 pound fighter. She's comfortable at that weight. So yeah, I'm gonna go with her just off her experience to fight at 125. The next fight we have is Uriah Hall versus Vitor Belfort. Two very dangerous strikers. I think in this fight, Vitor, his best chance to win this fight is in the first round. Both of these fighters, they're both dangerous strikers, but Vitor, he starts very well early, and then he fades pretty much later. But Uriah Hall, he's a slow starter, so that's why I think Vitor, his best opportunity is to get the finish early in the fight. Because Vitor is a fast starter, Uriah is a slow starter. But I feel like if this fight goes into the second round, I see Uriah getting the knockout in this fight. If the fight goes to the second round, I think at this point he's the more durable fighter. He's a more durable fighter. Both are very fast. Both are very powerful. But I think at this point Uriah Hall is the more durable fighter. So if he can avoid the initial storm of Vitor Belfort, he should win this fight by knockout, I think, in the second or third round. For the main event, this is going to be a crazy striking match. You have Jeremy Stephens versus Doo Ho Choi. Jeremy Stephens, he's, like he said, he's probably the hardest hitter at featherweight. And Doo Ho Choi hits pretty hard as well, Doo Ho Choi has really good, crisp, accurate striking. A very good straight right hand. Good distance management. Jeremy Stephens, he's a pretty powerful striker. He's pretty much evolved as a striker. He's developed multiple weapons now. His leg kicks is very strong. He has strong boxing. A difference between these two is Jeremy Stephens, he tends to load up more on his punches, and that can be dangerous against Doo Ho Choi because Doo Ho Choi is very good at countering. So Jeremy Stephens, he has to be careful with that. And Doo Ho Choi, I hope he's worked on his striking defense because he doesn't want to take too much from Jeremy Stephens, because if he lets Jeremy Stephens land like Cub Swanson was landing, he's going to get knocked out in this fight, because I think Jeremy Stephens hits quite a bit harder than Cub Swanson. This is a 5-round fight, so I think a knockout is very likely in this fight. Jeremy Stephens, he's a pretty tough fighter. He has a pretty good chin. I can only recall him being stopped by strikes, I think, once in his career. So Doo Ho Choi, he lasted all 3 rounds against Cub Swanson, even though he was very close to being finished in that fight. So they're both tough. I expect a lot of near finishes and a lot of comebacks in this fight. That's why this fight is a main event. For my prediction, I have to go with Jeremy Stephens in this fight. I think Doo Ho Choi, he gets hit. He's there to be hit. He's there to be hit, and I think with Jeremy Stephens landing, he's gonna eventually get the knockout. Probably round 2 or 3. I think his leg kicks will be a good factor in this fight because he has somebody who's gonna purely stand up with him. Doo Ho Choi is not gonna attempt any takedowns unless they're at a desperation. And Jeremy Stephens won't attempt any takedowns too. Choi, he should want to sit back and counter this fight. Let Jeremy Stephens load up on his punches and counter him. I think he has a really good chance to get the knockout if he does that. But I have to go with Jeremy Stephens in this fight. He has more experience fighting top level guys. I think overall he's just a more seasoned fighter. So yeah, y'all can go ahead, like, comment, subscribe if y'all want to. Tell me y'all opinions. I'll be doing every fight card. Peace and salute.